Hello, everyone. To those who just joined, I just want to say, hey, hope everyone's doing well this Thursday. I just wanted to say, my name is Jake, and I want to thank you for coming to this Inform Your Community Craftivism event. For reference, my pronouns are he, they, and I am a white young man with brown hair. My shirt is a grayish sweatshirt, and I have a light blue background. Closed captioning is enabled and can be turned on at any time by participants. And here at Inform Your Community, we basically offer events that combine important, impactful information with having fun. You can check out our website at www.informyourcommunity.org, where you can also find our social media links on the bottom of that website. And on the top right of our website, you can find both our mailing list, which we encourage you and your friends to sign up for, and our donate link, which is also at the top right. If you are watching the recording of this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. And we love to hear what you think of our crafts, events, and to see your finished project on social media. So the event we're doing today is part of our Craftivism program, where adults learn different art techniques while discussing relevant social issues. And today's topic is maternal health, and this refers to the well-being of a woman during pregnancy, birth, and up to 6 weeks after birth. Understanding more about maternal health is an important topic for a variety of reasons, but just to throw out some statistics, in 2022, 1 in 10 births were preterm. And it may be even more surprising to know that about 1/3 of deliveries were cesarean deliveries, also known as C-sections. And today we have Stacey with us, Stacey K. Stacey is not only CEO of Inform Your Community, but she was also a former entrepreneur of a children's crafting business in Lower Manhattan for 5 years. So welcome, Stacey.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much, Jake. Good to see you. Good to see you, everybody. Wonderful. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a white woman with salt and pepper hair. And I'm just here for the ride. I've got a green shirt on, kind of like a khaki color green on, and I am happy to be here.
All right, we are also grateful to have Tyler to help us with tech issues and just to help monitor the chat. And throughout the craft, if you have any questions or comments on the craft or on the topic, feel free to either unmute yourself or talk or write in the chat. And no pressure, but we'd love to see your work in progress, so feel free to show your project to the camera as you make it and when it's complete. I'd like to take this moment to introduce our crafter and co-facilitator, Stacey L. We have two Stacys today. Stacey is not only the Craftivism director at Inform Your Community, but she's also a birth and postpartum doula and serves on the board of the nonprofit Birth and Beyond Resources, which supports families and birth professionals through pregnancy, birth, and the postpartum phase. So welcome, Stacey. She will be helping us learn our art technique today, which is macrame. So Stacey, would you mind telling us more about the technique we're learning about?
Absolutely. First, hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. My pronouns are she and her. I am a white woman with curly brown hair, and my background is a little blurred, but it's also gray. So yes, as Jake mentioned, today we are making a macrame keychain, and which I'm excited to show you. Originally, I was thinking to show you a macrame bracelet, then realized some obstacles that may arise for all of us because the sizing may be different for everyone. So then specifically for this topic, we were drawn to the concept of having a keepsake with you when you're separated from your precious loved ones. And we came up with the macrame keychain. So macrame seems ideal because it also involves the tying of knots, which you will learn, and string or cord, with using string or cord to create patterns. Knots have been used to symbolize in many cultures love, and can represent the unbreakable bond between two lives. So that is why this seemed too perfect for our topic today of maternal health.
That is really, really lovely, and I cannot wait to begin.
I'm just as excited. So before we begin, I just want to go over what everyone will need. So everyone will need some tape, some strong adhesive tape, whether it is anything that you have in your household, or even a clipboard. Sometimes something that's going to hold your keyring in place as you're making the knot. You will need a clip. Keyring, obviously, to make your keepsake. So if you can, even if it's something like for now, if you want to take it off your keys, And then you can, you know, just to work with us as a trial, and then going forward, you can get something. Some twine or macrame cord, or you know, something to work with that, you know, will tie knots. I don't suggest using yarn because it's harder with yarn to see the knots and see if you make any errors as you're going along. So a type of macrame cord is advisable to use. Some beads or charms, as you can see here. There are some charms, but beads work as well if you have those in your home. Scissors, and optional for everyone would be pliers and glue, and also a comb. Those are optional. So if you have our kit, you have 2 key rings with dangles, which we will talk about. And so you can take your kit if you do have everything. You'll have 1 clip, you have an O-ring, and some macrame cords. You have 2 thin embroidery floss pieces there. You have charms, and you also have a sticker. So the sticker for us is what's going to be used as our tape. So we can hold down our key rings as we're working. So while everyone is working on creating your workspace, and have like a arm's distance length clear in front of you as you're looking, as you're working with us tonight, and gather your materials, I would like to share with you the definition of maternal health as you're working on gathering. So mother maternal health is, maternal is the term, all-encompassing term referencing those who give birth regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. So we'll definitely be sharing some other important terms with you throughout the craft. And but for now, we're going to move on with step 1. Okay. So if you have our kit, you are going to take out your sticker. Move some of this. And one of the key rings. Take one of the key rings now. And like I had mentioned, you want to be somewhat like an arm's distance length, because as you're making your knots, you just need some room to work and pull the strings. So you can choose to take the dangle off now, but for now I suggest just leaving it on, and we can work with it later on. So what we're going to do is just move it to the top and keep it somewhat out of the way, because we really want to work with the bottom space of the keyring. This is where also just get some tape also if you don't have the sticker. So whether you have sticker or tape, just make sure that you're capturing when you tape it down, and you'll see here, you put the tape or the sticker somewhat like halfway in the middle of the keyring. So they really have the middle, if you can see that. So as much of it as can be held down as possible is ideal. So if you can see there. So I'm capturing the top and the middle and the sides just to keep it in place. And again, if you don't have any tape, you can use a clipboard and stick the top part of that key ring inside the clipboard, because it usually holds it nice and tight. So while our crafters are working on that, sticking their key ring onto their workspace, I have a trivia question for you, Stacey. Can you guess what reptile is a symbol of fertility?
I'm not sure. Do tell.
So it is actually a turtle. Yeah, turtles are symbolic of motherhood, fertility, and good health in many cultures. In some legends, turtles are associated with creation. Now, and I have actually seen it in many. It's probably one of those symbols that is you don't recognize, but now maybe all of you will. So we're going to move on to step 2. so our crafters can create their own work of art. So you have your embroidery floss. We are, again, so please know that you're not going to connect the two key rings right now. One is going to be off to the side, and we'll connect the unoccupied key ring later on. So choose 3 of your macrame cords to work with. So everyone, yes, is going to need 3 macrame cords. If you really love a particular color, I suggest putting those, so we're going to be working with left, middle, and right cords. So I suggest putting the colors that you love and want your keyring to look or have the most color, use those as left and right. And the middle cord is known as a filler cord. And it is going to be hidden. I do suggest using, if you do have our kit, use the beige colored as the filler cord because it is the thinnest. And for what we have to work with, that is going to be the easiest one to get the charms through because our filler cords are what we use to put the charms through. So, so use that as the middle, and I'm going to take out pink and blue and also the beige. So I'll be working with those. So we're going to make what's known in macrame as a reverse lark's head knot out of our 3 cords. So take your first cord. What you're going to do is have it make it even on the ends. As you can see here, yes. Even on the ends, and then take your loop is what's going to go through the bottom part of the keyring, and you're gonna pull it through. So you're essentially making a knot. So it will look like that first, and then you're gonna fold it down and pull the 2 ends through the loop.
I have to say, I've done this a million times. I did not know it had a name.
Reverse lark's head knot. Lark's head knot.
Did not know that.
What makes it reverse is that you can't see the knot. When you flip this over, you see that knot there. That's a lark's head knot. But reverse is that the actual knot itself, the little bubble, is on the opposite side. So that's going to be my left, and you're going to do the same. Sorry, I'm going to now take my beige because I want my beige to be the middle. So I'm just going to make it even. I'm going to take, whoa, I have 2 here. I'm like, what? So why you want to make it as even as possible, again, is because as you're working with this, you're going to get your charms through that there. So you want to make it as even as possible. Take your loop, place your loop through the keyring. So this is, fold it down like that and pull the 2 ends, the even ends, through the loop. Okay. So while our crafters are working on the reverse lark's head knots, Stacey, would you mind sharing with us some important terms associated with maternal health?
Sure, there's certainly a lot of them, and you mentioned maternal health itself, and I'm going to mention about high-risk pregnancy, and that occurs when the chances of complications for either the woman or the child are higher than on average. So fun fact, when I had my children, they were both high-risk pregnancies for that reason. And then another term, which this one I had no idea about, PMAD, which stands for perinatal mood and anxiety disorder. And this term encompasses kind of postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, so kind of an all-encompassing term for those. And how are you doing on your?
Yes. Yes, thank you. And the PMAD is actually in the birth world. They say it's PMADs, so they call them PMADs. It's like for short, but yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So everyone can see here. So we should have our 3 colors and our 3 reverse lark's head knots. And mine kind of came off of my sticker, but I'm just gonna place it back on. And sometimes it's easier to work with off. So if you need to take it off, that's totally fine. Yeah, thank you so much. Those are very important terms to know. And I can't wait to go on further and get some more important facts about maternal health. But for now, we're gonna just move on to step 2 so our crafters can get going with their macrame and creations. So the next step, as once you have your 3 knots, is we are now going to make our square knots. So you should have 6 cords in front of you here. So we have, like I said, our left, our middle, and our right. You can mentally number them if you'd like to. So 1 and 2 are going to be your left working cords. So in macrame, these are called working cords, and 3 and 4 is going to be your filler cord, and 5 and 6 are your right working cords. So working cords, or knotting cords, they're also known as, are what you use to make actual knots. So we're going to just begin by kind of separating them out so you get an idea of your cords and what you're using. And clear my space. So we're going to begin we're making square knots. So you're going to take your left cords, so 1 and 2, and you're going to place it over your middle cord and also your right cord, almost resembling, as you're looking at it yourself, the number 4. It looks upside down maybe to you right now, but to me, it looks like the number 4. So you're going to leave your, you're going to take the right cords, and what you want to do is loop it through the cross that you just made. So basically, your left cord is crossing your middle cord, and you want to take your right cord and go under it. Like that. And then you're going to pull your left and right cords together. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Let me show you that again. So when you're pulling it, so this should be over. So as you make the number 4, if you can see, so your left cord is over the right cord, the middle cord, but your right cord is over it.
Okay.
So they're actually both over each other. And then you take your right cord and go through the middle like that. Because when you pull it, as you can see, I need to hold the filler cord down and pull to make a knot there. And
It's almost like you're making it over, like around the other one, the middle
yeah,
one.
yeah. If anyone has questions, please feel free to, we're going to continue on. Now, if this is hard, what you can do is take another piece of tape, and you can, for right now, hold this down in place, the filler cord, as you're making the knots. Because we're not adding the charms yet, so it's not needed. You can keep it held down. So as we continue on, you're doing the same thing with the right side. So it's always left side, right side, and you're going to alternate back and forth. So same with the right side, is you're going to make the number 4, take your right cord over the middle cord and the left cord over the right cord. And then the ends go through the middle and you pull to make a knot.
I really messed myself up because I'm using different colors than you're using. And so where your blue is my I'm trying though. I'm trying
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry. Am I calling them colors?
No, you're not. It's just a visual effect. It's like
Okay.
when I'm watching, but this is great. Keep going. And of course,
So that's why it might be easier to number again mentally in your head. So we can say 1 and 2 goes over 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 goes over 1 and 2, and then under
that's
both of them.
that's the way to do it.
And like under and through the middle. And so you can start to see it's forming somewhat of a box. So you should have like alternating colors on each side. I think the hardest thing to remember is where you left off. What sides did you leave off on? Because what will start to happen, you know, say you have to leave your craft and get up for a moment. If as a beginner, mark down what side you're working, you know, you're going to next, but you will start to notice it doesn't knot properly if you do a knot on the same side. So you want to, you'll see like, wait a second, it looks bunchy almost, and it doesn't look like that knot should be there. And so you want to pull these in tight. And so again, there's our number 4 over the middle. The left side goes over both of those pieces and then through. And we're pulling and knotting as close up to the last one as you can get. So, how are you doing on yours?
I'm working on it. I'm
Okay.
definitely.
So we're going to continue to make about like maybe 4 or 5 of them, because the next step is going to be to show how to add charms if you'd like to continuously throughout. But we can absolutely choose to continue to make a full string without any charms. That's something like that. And you know, not add the charms. But let's continue. I will continue on my screen, showing crafters how to make those knots as we master them. But I was hoping, Stacey, maybe you could tell us more about the values associated with maternal health as we continue.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. In a perfect world, healthcare, you know, looks the same, right? Maternal health is the same across everybody, regardless of, you know, gender, age, sex, religion, financial status. Yet regarding mental health, that's not always the case. And actually, between 2018, 2019, 2020, each of those years, there was a 3% increase in maternal mortality for each of those years. So actually, like, I don't know if you heard that, because I don't know if I said it clearly, increase in maternal mortality. It means that's going up, which is not a good thing. 3% each of those 3 years. And statistically, it's non-Hispanic, Black, and American Indian, Alaskan Native women who have the highest pregnancy-related mortality rates and severe mortality morbidity, more than other racial or ethnic groups. And a tragic example is Tori Bowie, who you may not have heard of, but she's an American track and field athlete, and she died in 2023 as a result of complications related to childbirth. And among those were eclampsia, respiratory distress, and high blood pressure, which, especially the high blood pressure, you think like, okay, high blood pressure, people have that all the time. But, you know, combined with these other things, obviously for her, that was really, obviously tragic, really devastating. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very disheartening, and should not be happening at all. Like you said, you stress the numbers increasing. And there are currently laws and politicians focusing to end these racial disparities. In fact, in 2023, The Black Maternal Health Omnibus Act passed into law with the goal being to help end preventable maternal mortality and maternal health disparities in the United States, which we do have the highest rate actually of maternal mortality. So yes, so we're very happy in the birth world that these laws were put into effect.
Yes, and by the way, I love the name of that, the Momnibus Act. I love that. Momnibus. It's fun. It's just fun to say it. And yes, along with that, there's also there's also the Cares for Mom Act, which was put forth by Senator Dick Durbin and U.S. Representative Robin Kelly, and that was signed into law on March 27th, 2020. So not that long ago, surprisingly, right? But the goal of this law is to improve maternal health outcomes and eliminate racial inequalities by really strengthening healthcare. So healthcare is related to obviously maternal health and healthcare coverage for pregnant and postpartum people in particular, improving access to quality clinical care and growing the maternal and child health workforce in ways that address gaps in rural populations as well, which is great that came along.
Yes. Yeah, that is definitely wonderful to hear. I'd love to touch more on that. But first, actually, we're gonna move our crafters along. Hopefully you have a few square knots going. I do want to mention one way that you can tell what side you need to work on next. So if you do lose your way and you can't really tell, are you going left or to the right, like with your number 4 or your pattern? So the opposite side. So you make that, basically the knot is going to appear on the opposite side of the number 4 that you make. Is the best way I can explain that. If I'm working with my left folding over to the right side, and the knot is going to appear on the opposite side. So if that helps along the way. Okay, so.
By the way, Stacey, I just want to interrupt just for 1 second. So sorry. I want to mention that Robin had put some put a link in the chat, which was very nice of you, Robin. Thank you for doing that. Also, you know, I'm obviously involved with helping us come up with the content for today's presentation. And hearing you say it, I still was like, no, that can't be. And so I just had to put a link in the chat also about the maternal health mortality rates in the US. And I just had to confirm it one more time. But yes, we are the highest maternal mortality.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like it should be possible, but no. I put a link in the chat there for you, for those who are also like me going, wait, really? That can't be true. And so I just wanted to put that link in there. But sorry, I totally cut you off, Stacey. You're doing great.
No, that's okay. Thank you. No, I totally agree. When I became a doula, I was mortified by that as well. So, so thank you. All right. So we are going to continue on. I just want to show you how you can add a charm as you move along. Again, you have the option to do so, but you have been provided, if you have our kit, some beautiful charms to use. And if you don't have our kit, maybe you have some beads at home that you want to use, or charms of your own. Okay, so charms can be used to add some flair to your keychain, to make it a beautiful keepsake. Maybe you have something that is going to help remind you of your loved ones as you are separated from them. So here we have a few square knots, and you can choose to add charms or beads at any point throughout your keychain. You're the artist. You can design it however you'd like. If you find it hard, I just want to give you some ways to get the end of the filler cord through the charm. If you're having difficulty, you can actually just wet these with some water, or you lick your fingers, or crafter, the crafter's way. And like roll it also. Another trick that you can do is simply wrap a tiny piece of like Scotch tape to the ends to pinch it again and make it a little tighter, to form a little bit of a peak to get it through your charm. Another trick is to use a little dab of glue. And yes, then you would get the glue on your fingers. But again, a little dab, and maybe like a quick dry glue. But, and again, similar to wetting it, is just pinching it to form a little bit of a peak. And it will stay dried there and make it easier as you continue on. So I used a little dab of glue and pinched it. And then what I'm going to do is take one of my charms, and I'm going to choose to use the hearts and just put it through the loop. And in pulling it up to the top of where your knots are. Now with charms, what we want to do for now, because we're going to continue to make our square knots underneath it to keep it in place. So we don't want it in the way down here. So you just want to put it up and out of the way towards the keyring, so that we can continue to secure it nicely and make more square knots around it. So hopefully as you continue on, you'll see how charming and beautiful your keyring is becoming. And the trick really is to just work your way down, securing your charms or your beads along the way and making square knots around it in a sequence, and finishing it off with another. So if you've made about 6, you can choose to make another 6 and add another charm, and so that they look a little more sequential if you'd like to. So as we continue to make our square knots in a column, which is also another macrame term, a column of knots is called a sinnet, for those that want some little trivia. A sinnet, S-I-N-N-E-T, and again, you add charms if preferred. So we will continue on. Now, before you don't go all the way to the end as we continue on. You're going to leave about an inch or so, maybe an inch and a half, if that, so that we can seal it off and end it. So it's a breeze once you get the hang of it. I hope you're all finding that to be the case. You really can, again, it's going to be hidden. So again, if you forget where you've left off, don't worry about it. Your charm is just going to hold it in place.
I'm still working on mine, but I think I'm finally getting the hang of it. I'm a little behind everybody,
Okay.
but I definitely think the logic of it is coming to me. Well, while everybody's working on the craft, I'm going to tell some folks, if it's okay with you, Stacey, I'm going to tell some folks, yeah, okay, good, about the values that are associated with maternal health. So the idea of being family-centered, one would think that's a very reasonable value of maternal health. So family-centered care in particular, and that's based on the idea that families and medical professionals are allies in providing quality and safe care for families. Kind of we're all on the team together, right? Also, responsibility is a very important value. Being alert, about one's own health, and taking time to care for yourself and your own well-being, right? It's not just about the baby, but obviously your health as a mother, as someone who's pregnant, is really important to that baby's health as well as to your own health. And then advocacy is another important value. It goes without saying that self-advocacy is important, but also helping others. So if you're not the one who's pregnant, but you can help others by advocating and just making sure that the ways you're advocating are ways that they want you to advocate for them on their behalf. And sometimes advocacy could be as simple as visibility. And I don't know if you remember this, Stacey, but I remember Demi Moore, wife of Bruce Willis, at the time anyway. And maybe some of you, I don't know, put in the chat if any of you remember the cover of Vanity Fair where Demi Moore was pregnant. And it was so amazing to see this pregnant woman looking absolutely beautiful on the Vanity Fair magazine. And just that in itself did so much to raise awareness just about,
Yeah.
you know, pregnancy and, you know, the role of women in that, and put focus on that. So, so yeah, nobody remembers. I was hoping.
I do remember.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was, yeah, I think it was
Tyler.
definitely before Tyler's time. I don't know if anybody else, if you don't remember, you should check it out. Vanity Fair Demi Moore pregnancy cover.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely hits many of the reasons why I became a doula, advocacy especially. And, you know, as a doula, I get to be a part of a maternal healthcare team working alongside families, OBs, family physicians, midwives, pediatricians, lactation consultants, etc., all that offer evidence-based care to families, and teaching families to advocate for themselves, individuals, you know, to advocate for themselves when placed in situations where they find themselves needing to defend their own values and beliefs. So it's a great job. So
sorry, I was just going to mention, Jake put in the chat that it's like Pamela Anderson now going to film festivals without makeup to push back against beauty standards. Just showing up as yourself is a great form of advocacy. I love that. That's very empowering,
yeah.
Jake. Nicely said.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So how are we all doing, coming along with our nodding? Feel free to show us if anybody wants to take themselves off camera and show it. Oh, put themselves on camera, on screen. Okay. I'm gonna do one more. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. Okay. So we're gonna just continue to make a few more knots. I do want to make sure we have some time to show you how to finish this off. I think I may have actually gone on the wrong side. And again, as you're going along, you can tell if you have. And if your filler cord bunches up, you can see, I hope as you're making the knot, see how like maybe you have to hold it down, or sometimes you have to tug on it a little to get it a little out of the knot, because it does tend to bunch up a little bit. I don't know. I might try to add another little, oh, that's a heart. I love the charm ideas.
I keep forgetting which side is which side. And so your point earlier about numbering them, I think if I do this again, I'm going to have to.
Was that helpful?
That was the one I should have paid attention to when you were saying that. For sure.
So again, does it help too? It helped me to know that. So here I have a knot on my right side. That was the last where I left off. So that is now my next knot is supposed to appear on the left side, but I want to make that little loop right there on the same side where my last knot is, if that helps. So that number 4 that looks like, or the backwards 4 in this case, once it's on the right. So that's really how I want it to look. So that I find that helpful again once I'm looking at it to work with.
I'm definitely processing. I'm processing.
Yeah. And then sometimes then you have to pull that filler cord through. So you can see, those of you that are trying this, whether you're working you know, as you're doing this at home, why yarn may not work so well, because yarn is a lot smoother. This is more like, you want to use something more like twine or hemp cord or something, because you want to see where your knots are. But yeah, I think I made one, I think. This one was made using just some yarn, like, and you see how soft it is, and you can't really tell so much. but I was just playing with it one day. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the beauty of macrame is definitely in being able to see the knots in it.
The knots, I've watched videos, and I definitely, my goal one day is to make a planter. I would, yeah. or a wall hanging. I'm amazed at the creations that people make with us. So
Well-
I've added another charm. I'm just want to show a few more knots to secure it, and then we are going to tie it off at the end. So
Doesn't matter how tight you move the knots up.
they'll be held more secure if you get it as close to the last one that you made, as close to each other. So yeah, and it holds better in place as a whole at the end, because again, you want to be able to carry this around, or even, you know, going forward, if whatever you make with it is going to, like I said, hold a planter, you know, so it, you know, it's going to be used to hold some heavy things, or it's going to be used
Right.
to hold your keys. So you don't want it to come loose and create space in between the last knot. So yeah, try to get it as pulled tightly as close to the last knot as you can.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Are we up to the
Yeah,
last step yet? Or
yeah,
that's-
almost.
Okay.
I chose to put a charm a little close to the end, which maybe not be advisable to do, because it might be in my way as I work with the bottom. So same is going to go for you. So maybe don't put a charm too close to the bottom. Is going to be my advice to you.
We will learn from your mistakes.
Yes. Don't do this at home. Okay. So, so yeah, I'm going to show you how to finish off the design. You're going to start by removing your keychain from the tape. And you should have, you know, I have more than an inch obviously on the bottom, but I just want to show you how to finish it off. And you're going to take your embroidery floss that you have, or some string. If you don't have our kit, take a piece of string or embroidery floss, something thinner than the cord that you are working with. So you're going to hold, let's see. You're going to essentially make a U shape with the embroidery floss. So you're going to take one end and put it towards the bottom, leave about an inch there. Gathering the end of the cord that is not wrapped and not shaped, you're going to kind of hold them and create a U with the embroidery floss. And kind of, you see how I'm pinching it with my finger there. So again, maybe about 1.5 inches or so of a U. And you're going to, towards the end of the knot, so this, we're going to be wrapping the embroidery floss around the bottom. Hopefully everyone can see that. I'll try. So I'm going to, hope everyone can see. Now take this and just start wrapping it around as close to the bottom as I can. And just catching like the first wrap around the last knots that you made, just to start, and pulling it really tight and just keep wrapping it around. So you still have that U that you made is a loop that we're going to be made. This is like a reverse knot that I'm going to show you how to make. It's called a reverse knot in macrame. So that U is going to be used to make a knot. I will show you how to do that one more time. So take about 1.5 inches of your embroidery floss, pinch it and hold it in place right at the bottom of your last knot that you made. Make a U about an inch or so. Keep that loop there. And then start wrapping, keeping the U in place, the loop. And start wrapping the cord around your last square knot that you made and around the excess cord that's hanging. Anyone have questions?
How much of your macrame string do you have left about? Is that like an inch?
I have more, and if it, if it gets in the way, you can cut it, because I'll cut a little bit off, which, we can do at the end, but for wrapping purposes, no, I have probably more like 3 inches left, maybe, yeah. But that is going to be the end. That's going to be the dangles. So again, that's personal preference as when you finish it off. And what you like. The key here is when you're wrapping, and once you wrap once or twice, you can kind of let it go, is pulling the floss really tight, because the floss is what's holding your knot in place. And you want to continue to wrap around and around and pull that nice and tight. So I will unwrap and show it maybe one more time, just in case. Finishing off is can be the tricky part sometimes.
Well, while our crafters are wrapping, should I share maybe a couple more statistics?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. So, and these are, some statistics showing a little bit of a positive trajectory. There's 50% of employers who have more than 50 employees actually have lactation rooms, designated lactation rooms for employees, so that they can pump breast milk, which is great. That really helps. And then 90% of workers have access to unpaid family leave. So it's some kind of leave where they're not going to be penalized at their job for taking time. But only 27% have paid leave. But 90% do have some kind of a leave that their job is secured while they are away for family leave, which is great.
Yes, that's I definitely love the sound of that. Other things put in place to help families as they on their journey. Yeah.
And Jake gave us a heads up in the chat to say we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
I'm still working at the beginning of this, but everybody else is following you along perfectly. I've just gotten distracted as we've been having our conversation too.
Yes, you've been sharing facts with us and stuff, so it's greatly appreciated. So thank you. As you can see, this is what's holding the bottom. And once you get the first couple of wraps made, you can kind of let go a little bit and kind of hold it. You don't have to pinch it because it is holding itself in place. So you can kind of get a good look at that. So let's see so what we're gonna do after you've got like enough wraps there, you can get a good sense of like where you want to finish it off. You're going to take the loose end and put it through the loop. And pull that. And then once it's through the loop, you're going to actually pull both ends together. Like you can see. So you can see that, that going underneath our wrap. And then as you pull it, that's a reverse knot. So and it's hidden. So then, and it stays nice in place, like right underneath, and you can pull nice and tight on both ends, and that knot is right underneath. And then you just clip off the excess So it will wherever you'd like it. And I'm gonna clip off the other end of my embroidery cloth. Like that.
Oh, look how pretty.
So, so yes, it's hopefully that is something that I'm only able to show one. So once we do it. So as you near the final stage, it's definitely essential to tidy up the cord ends. Again, this is a personal preference, how much you want to leave at the bottom. You can choose to leave it dangling like that. Smooth out any remaining fibers if you want. Like you can take a comb and rake the ends to make it look you know, a little less wrapped and cord-like. So you have a nice, more frayed looking bottom if you like. So that's what the comb is for. So you also do have, so again, that's optional on preference. So if you have our kit, you've been given 2 key rings. So as you can see, with the keyring that you made, one thing I would like you to note is that it may be hard for you to open it to actually put keys onto. So that's why we have provided, and as you work with yours, you may need to have 2 key rings so that you can add them together. And then this will be the one that you can actually use to put your keys onto. Because the cord is wrapped around that first key ring, your working key ring that you've made, it's difficult, yeah, to open up and actually get things onto. So you can choose to add a clip to the key ring also, or the chain to make it a zipper pull if you'd like, and not have it as a key ring. It can be a zipper pull. Any leftover charms that you have, that's why the chains are there. And also the O-ring or the jump ring can be added. Beautiful. Optional pliers to be used. You can add a charm to the chain if you'd like, and just close it up using the jump ring with the pliers. So all things optional, and again, to be used at your discretion and your design. And I think that is it. There you have it. So I've added charms throughout. I have, and you can choose, again, in the beginning, we didn't take the chain off of the first keyring, but you can take that off if you'd like. But it is another place that you can add the charms as well with your O-ring. So, and there you have it. Some important information we've shared about mental health, your very own macrame keychain, and I hope you enjoyed this craft as much as I did.
Wow. Thank you so much to our Stacey's, Stacey L and Stacey K. Thank you all to our wonderful crafters today. We really appreciate you just showing up, you know. We hope you will continue to learn more about maternal health. To help, we'll send our event video and infographic and a follow-up email by the end of next week, which we of course encourage you to share with others if you feel so inclined. Also, please consider committing to a weekly act centered on maternal health, and getting informed by coming to this event is a great way to start, but other ways we encourage you to do that are go out of your way and talk with someone who provides maternal health care and encourages others to have regular check-ins with care providers pre and post delivery. Research maybe more holistic approaches to maternal health, and when talking with a pregnant person or new parent, spend some time focusing not on their pregnancy and parenthood. And remember to just share our infographic too, again, if you feel so inclined. Our email will include another brief survey of what you thought of the event itself. Please take the time to respond when you get that, as your feedback is very important to us. And on the subject of feedback, a poll should pop up a little shortly. There she is. Please take a moment right now to just take our quick poll. Note, these are not the same questions you'll get in the survey, but again, we just love to hear your feedback. If you're interested in our schedule for the year, it's posted on our website. Again, that's www.informyourcommunity.org. Our next Craftivism event is an in-person event offered by our New York City chapter on restorative justice. So if you're in the area, we encourage you to sign up for this January 16th event in Manhattan. And just to remind you, tickets, materials, and shipping are free for our online crafting events. So please sign up. And if you're interested in the in-person event, just remember that only those signed up a week before the events will receive the kits mailed to their home. Our next free event is a much to discuss game night on the topic of grief, which is an important thing, an important topic, one that not many people like to talk about because of the nature of it, but it's important to talk about the hard stuff. And to look for and learn about even greater Inform Your Community events, not just our Craftivism program, but other events from other programs, check out our website again. That's one more time, www.informyourcommunity.org. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to like our video, comment, subscribe to our channel, let us know what you thought. And also, please consider donating to cover the cost of the materials and shipping if you can afford it, as it helps keeps our events free for those who can't. And one last time, I want to thank you all so much for coming and for helping inform your own communities based on what you learned today. Hope you've had a nice time, and thank you so much.